Each and every Monday is $9 Monday at WagerTalk.com. All daily picks packages are priced at only $9, including $40 5% best bets. As an added bonus, all new users will receive $25 in wager bucks credited to their accounts, available for immediate use after their initial $9 Monday purchase. So make sure to take advantage of $9 Mondays at WagerTalk.com.
Hey guys, welcome in and a very happy Monday to you. The final day of January 2022. I have no idea where the time goes, but I do know we got a pretty interesting slate of college hoops here to begin the week tonight. We're going to break down three games here tonight that are certainly going to help and hurt a few of these teams in their conference battles, and we're going to do it with the Monday crew. None better than this, guys, with Drew Martin in the house, red hot still to this day, still crushing it in college hoops here. Also, Adam Trigger here to bestow some knowledge upon us. And who better than Tony Mejia to kick off the week here, guys. Great little card here tonight, 30-something games going on. We'll break down a few of those, but start us off here, Drew, on a $9 Monday. Tell us what you got going on at WagerTalk.com and give me a little something of what you've learned this weekend.
Sure, Joe. Always good to be on with you. Monday mornings here, breaking down the college basketball card. And got one best bet up at WagerTalk.com. In talking about what I learned this weekend, I would probably go to the Alabama Crimson Tide and their propensity to just play up-tempo basketball, no matter who they're playing, Joe. So when you look at their schedule and they got Auburn and Kentucky on deck. We talked about this on Under the Radar last week, the new show breaking down trends that might be under the radar. And Joe, it's Alabama over the totals. Watch out, guys, especially against good teams that can score. So sure enough, against Auburn, against Kentucky, I'd likely be looking to bet Alabama over the total, Joe. They just went over the total against Baylor, one of the top 5 defenses in the country. So they'll go up and down the court under Nate Oates at all costs. That's one thing I learned this weekend.
Love it, man. That was good stuff. Big win. Huge win for Nate Oates and company there. Found their stroke and some defense. Love it. Talk to us here, Treg. $9 Monday, man. What do you got locked and loaded? And give us a little something you might have walked away with this weekend in college hoops.
Sure. So, what I have up right now, I have a 5% best bet, or 5% max bet, if you will, in college basketball tonight for $9, part of $9 Monday. I have another best bet. It's a 4%er, but I'm going to give it out on the show for free. Had a nice day, 2-0 yesterday. And what I learned this week is I was right about what I learned last week, and I'm going to just kind of ride that into this week because I think it still applies. Wisconsin is a fade until further notice. Last week, I came on here on Monday. I said, Wisconsin, you want to fade them going forward. They failed to cover the closing number in both their games this week against Nebraska and Minnesota. If you got in early on Thursday against Nebraska with Wisconsin, you would have covered. But the majority of people that Wisconsin would have lost in either of those games. And I think coming up, probably going to be the case again this week. They go on the road to Illinois. They have Penn State on Saturday at home, a team we're going to talk about today. I can almost guarantee they're going to be overvalued against Penn State in that game. So, yeah, I would say let's just let that ride for another week. I think Wisconsin is an overrated, overvalued team. I think there's going to be some value in going against them again this week like there was last week.
All right, good stuff there. Love it. We won't bring up the fact that we're making money backing Siena as short dogs are at home. But that's a whole nother story for another show there, Trig. Big win, by the way. Couple of big wins now here in the last week for your boys there at Siena. Tony Mejia, man, talk to us here, brother. I know you're looking forward to a couple of things going on here tonight. Tell us about it, $9 Monday, and tell us something you might have learned here over the weekend in college hoops.
Well, I hope you had a great weekend. Hope it was better than mine. I learned that, well, first of all, I've got two packages up, a $9 college basketball package with a 4% play, and an NBA package that does the same thing, 4% headliner, and then we'll have some props and sides, totals, whatever I like tonight's final 8-game card. But we'll talk more about the NBA card at the 4 p.m. Eastern time show. As far as college basketball, I will go to the overvalued card and remind myself that I don't trust Matt Painter, and I never have. And he's got a wonderful team on his hands, and it tends to fall asleep at the wheel in a manner that is alarming, considering how effective that team is and what they let Ohio State do to them yesterday. I looked at that line when it opened. I made it at 5.5, and I saw that it opened at 10. It was down at 9. And I said, oh, this is too much. Somebody knows something. And so I wrote Purdue, and Purdue is up 18, and I'm feeling very smart about going against my first instinct and backing the blood. And then Ohio State comes all the way back. And I'm president of the E.J. Liddell fan club. So for me to go against Ohio State like that, I said, oh, well, he might get into foul trouble. Mackey might take over. And, yeah, for 25 or plus minutes, that looked great because Purdue, I think, got up by 20. But again, Painter does something in games that I really bothers me. So I'll have to keep that in mind going forward and into the NCAA tournament, considering Purdue's probably going to end up being a number 1 or number 2 seed and will be favored in most of its games.
All right. Love that stuff, too. Also, I'll throw in there, never trust the Cincinnati Bearcats with a lead in the second half. And also, you just don't do it there. Absolutely not. And Colorado gets faded when they're on the road for a reason. That's all I'll point out there. All right, guys, let's talk about it here. Game number 1 tonight, we'll head to the ACC, and we will talk the Blue Devils. Duke taking on Notre Dame. 143.5 is an opening total. 5.5. Duke gets a opening number there. They'll be traveling to Indiana for this one. Both of these teams actually seem to have really righted the ship over the last month or so here, Drew. So who do you give the edge to in this one?
I give the edge to Notre Dame. I think the dog is barking here, Joe. A couple reasons why. Duke 17-3 on the season in Coach K's kind of celebration tour here. So the calls might go against us betting the Irish, but still just 2-2 on the road for the Dukies. And this is the first time all year they'll be in back-to-back road games. Of course, playing Louisville on Saturday, the short turnaround in ACC play, nationally televised game tonight. However, it's kind of a tough spot here for Duke. Also, note, next Saturday, they're at UNC, so it'll be 3 straight road games. And on the other side of things, it's 3 straight home games for Notre Dame. So spot-wise, Joe, this screams Irish. We also get the better three-point shooting team, the better free throw team as well, 75% free throws for the Irish. So give me Mike Bray. I mean, it was a tough start to the season, but since getting an ACC play, they're 7-1 in conference. I think this might be a little bit buy low here on the Irish. So I'll take Notre Dame plus 5.5, Joe.
Yeah, this was a game was supposed to be, I believe, January 1st. It was supposed to be a New Year's Day game. They actually are now playing it on the last day of January. And Duke's got a 3-game winning streak. Notre Dame 4. Both are chasing Miami for the top spot here in the ACC. What happens here tonight? Talk to us here, Trig.
Drew just nailed it. Notre Dame plus the points, 4% play for me. Only reason I haven't posted it yet is because I think this line can only get better. It was 5 earlier. It's 5.5. I'll probably lock in 5.5 officially after the show because right before I came on air, I saw plenty of 5.5. It may even go to 6. But that's just way too many points. Notre Dame, you know what? I haven't gotten as much right this college basketball season as I would like, Joe. But one thing I've been right about is Notre Dame has been a play on for a while now. I was talking about that closer to the beginning of the season. And one thing I said was, you know, once they figure out this sort of pack line defense that Mike Bray decided he was going to go to for this season, they were going to be a pretty good team. And that's exactly what's happened. They figured out the way they want to defend. They've been able to slow games down a little bit. And they're 10-1 in their last 11 games. And they're playing excellent basketball. And they've beaten the likes of Kentucky, North Carolina and Virginia at home. They won at Louisville. They're playing great basketball right now. Duke, as Drew Martin Betts said, 2-2 on the road. Duke has not been a very impressive road team for years now. And Duke's in a little bit of a tough scheduling spot, having to play at Louisville on Saturday and now travel up to Notre Dame on Monday night. And one thing I'll say about that Duke-Louisville game, that final score is a bit deceiving for me. That probably should have been a Louisville cover. I think Duke winning by 9 does not really do justice to how close and competitive that game was. And it's probably inflating the number here tonight. Notre Dame hasn't lost yet at home this season. Listen, I don't know if they're going to win tonight. I do think they have a great chance to win tonight. But one thing I do know, Joe, this is too many points. Notre Dame, we'll call it plus 5.5. Best bet, 4% play for me. Love the Irish tonight.
Yeah, Louisville was only down about a bucket there with a couple of minutes left and then melted away as Duke ran away with that game there. But you know what, Tony Mejia, Notre Dame had quite a little fight on their hand with Virginia, too, Saturday night here. They were able to get the victory when it was all said and done. How about you? You want Notre Dame here and the points as well?
I watched both of those games. I like the total here better. But, yeah, look, Duke was able to clamp down, and Louisville certainly helped by missing shots. Virginia actually tightened that game up against Notre Dame. I thought they were going to cough it up, but Notre Dame, to its credit, was able to make plays. And I think it is a team that plays much better at home than on the road. So they certainly do have that going for them. They were 9-0 in home games. And obviously Duke is a team that's, a bunch of different parts with young kids and some holdovers. So they don't really have the experience factor on the road, and they went down to Miami and fell there. At this point, I think Duke is one of those teams that is more talented than anybody that they face, but really has to learn how to play together and win games. So from that standpoint, tonight's a big proving ground for them. And I think Notre Dame is going to be able to, play the pace that they want to play. So establishing that pack line and slowing games down, I think Coach K in his huddles is going to have his team say, all right, let's be methodical, and that'll lead to a lower scoring game than expected. The under is a very impressive 6-2 in Notre Dame's last 8 games, and Duke, it's 2-2 the last 4. But again, with the number being 144, I think there isn't a great number. We'll have some room for error in there, and it'll be right around 140.
All right, good stuff. Couple of sides, a total. You got a little bit of everything in that game coming up tonight. ACC first place on the line, all chasing the U here. It's kind of weird to say that, Drew, but it's exactly what's going on. All right, let's head over to the Big Ten as we've got, kind of a rematch here of sorts. Feel like we just saw this, mostly because we did. And it was an Iowa victory over Penn State at home, and now they travel to Pennsylvania. 3.5 is an opening number, 138.5 as an opening total here. Trig, what do you think? Penn State gets another crack at the Murray brothers. Do they handle them this time?
Joe, it's taking every fiber of my being right now to not bet Penn State. Like they're on my short list for the day. I've been talking about Penn State being undervalued also since probably the beginning of the season, and it took some time for this Nittany Lions team because they have a lot of mid-major transfers. One of them, former Siena Saint point guard Jalen Pickett, who actually leads the Nittany Lions in scoring now at 13.4 points per game. But Penn State's kind of figured it out. They have lost 3 straight, but I will say just about this team in general, they've kind of figured out how they want to play. So I have Penn State really undervalued. I almost used them in our sort of who to watch out for going forward because it's kind of a veteran team. It's just a number of guys sort of new to the program that are kind of figuring out how to play together. My concern is this isn't a great matchup for them, as we kind of saw in the first meeting. But Iowa is a team that will play to their opponent more on the road. So Penn State obviously wants to slow the game down. Iowa wants to play faster. Iowa was able to sort of do what they wanted in that first meeting and created some distance, which is not good for Penn State. Penn State's not really a team that's built to play from behind or to play in any sort of type of shootout. They need to play close games. They need to keep it tight and play slower. But at Penn State, at home, could be a little bit of a flat spot for Iowa. And if Penn State can dictate the tempo here, which I think they might be able to do, I think this number is probably too big. Really interested to see what the other guys have to say on this one. But Penn State, man, if that touches 5 and gets to 5, that's probably a really good bet from a value standpoint, from a number standpoint. I just haven't decided if it's going to officially make my card, but I've got a pretty strong lean to Penn State here.
All right, he's leaning up Penn State here. It wasn't great for Iowa when they lost to Purdue. I think it was last Thursday there. And they'll go as the Murray brothers apparently want to go here, Tony Mejia. So what do you think tonight? They had a great game against Penn State a couple of weeks ago. Both did. Do they repeat that performance here?
Well, I think the key will be rebounding because, that'll allow them to establish their pace and get up and move around. They were actually being out rebounded in the first game, and that was a big point of emphasis for McCaffrey at the break, and then they out rebounded the Nittany Lions 27-12 over the final 20 minutes and kind of pulled away. So this will be Penn State's first home game since January 11th. They've had some COVID cancellations, and they've actually covered 4 straight home games. So clearly in Micah Shrewsbury's first season, they're more comfortable at the Jordan Center, and it'll be an opportunity here for some revenge against a team that they probably feel out-toughed them and shouldn't have in Iowa City in a game that was really tight at the half. And then Iowa was able to impose its will. So from that standpoint, it's a good spot for Penn State. I'm looking at the total here, though, as my play. The under is 5-0 when the total reaches under 140 in Iowa games. Pardon me, in Penn State games. And Iowa likes to play them in the 140s anytime that they're under 140. It's only happened twice. The over is 2-0. So the number's hovering right in that area here, and I just don't think that these teams can play worse offensively than they did in Iowa City if they shoot the ball a little better and there's a faster pace. I think we'll see the over come in here. So I like the high side here with Iowa, playing better than they did at home as they try to face a team that's going to play better at home in Penn State.
Yeah, I mean, coming off of that beatdown against Indiana there, Penn State, I think that was Wednesday of last week, Drew. Home sounds pretty right around now for them. Always a tough place to play. So do you like Penn State to exact a little revenge here?
Joe, this was a tough one for me. Spot-wise, I think it screams Penn State. Being at home, being the slower tempo team like Tony was talking about. I tend to like that profile just because they can have an easier time of controlling the pace. And we do have a contrast of styles here, guys. We got a top 60 team in tempo, Iowa, versus one of the slowest teams in the country in Penn State. I believe they rank, depending how you want to rank the tempo-wise, 340s, 350s. Keep in mind there's only about, 350 whatever teams. So one of the slowest in the country. I think that will help them at home. Trig also brought up a good point of maybe buying low on Penn State. The only thing that I pumped the brakes on, because I was looking at that as well, is how good is Penn State really? It is some transfers here. They've lost 3 straight. They're playing in the Big Ten, and it becomes one of those kind of handicaps where, yeah, if they're getting better, great, but is it really going to pay you? Because the Big Ten is pretty good here. So you really got to start winning games and play very competitively. If you're just getting good, but you're losing by 10, 15 points, what really good is that as a sports bettor? I don't know, guys. It's one that I'm going to watch here. I'm going to watch Penn State very closely because I do think Trig brought up some good points. I just don't know if tonight's the night, Joe. We're going up against Iowa, a top 10 offensive efficiency team. They knock down their free throws. They're very well coached under Fran McCaffrey. It's enough to kind of keep me off of here. But spot-wise with Iowa only being 2-4 on the road, I don't know. It might be one of those times the dog is barking here and take the plus points with Penn State. I just got to see him kind of perform here, cover a couple games before I invest my money anyway, Joe.
All right, good stuff there, guys. Big Ten action in display here tonight. Penn State taking on Iowa. We'll head out to the West, the Mountain West, in fact, for our final game here. Take a look at Colorado State heading to Laramie to take on a pretty good Wyoming team, especially at home here as they open up a slight favorite in this one with the total opening around 146. And boy, oh boy, that was just embarrassing against UNLV there, Tony Mejia. Colorado State, double-digit, just throwing up, but it doesn't get any easier. Now they got to go to Wyoming, and they don't often lose at home. So what do you do here in this matchup?
Yeah, I mean, the loss came out of nowhere. So you really have to decide whether you trust this Colorado State team. Lord knows you've seen enough of them. I mean, they've actually been on national TV this season. It's a team that's lived up to the hype. So maybe just a hiccup. And the one reason that I'm willing to back them, even though Wyoming is an extremely tough place to play, is Wyoming, despite their excellent home record, really hasn't played quality teams there at home. They've beaten New Mexico and San Jose State in their last two home games, Utah Valley before that in their final December home game. So this is an opportunity for both teams to really prove where they're going. I thought Wyoming wasn't going to be at the top of the Mountain West, and they've done a really nice job rallying around Hunter Maldonado, despite the fact that they lost their best player to transfer. And so it's a team that's impressive from that standpoint. And then you've got a Colorado State squad that, like I said, was expected to be the class of the Mountain West and has been up until this disaster against UNLV. So an opportunity to prove that they're resilient. I really like David Roddy. So long as this team's healthy, I think they bounce back in a tight one. But certainly one of the more under the radar statement games going on the Monday card.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of under the radar, Drew's got a new segment out, guys. Make sure you check it out on our YouTube page. He points things just like this out here, Drew. And I couldn't believe when I saw it, but it appears that Colorado State has gone now 62 games without losing back-to-back situations. Now they travel to Wyoming, so do you think it ends here, this streak, or do you think it continues?
I think it continues, Joe. I don't think Colorado State's going to lose this game. I really don't. I mean, I like the under, and I like Colorado State here. It has been pushed up to -1.5. That's the side I like, Joe. This is a very interesting handicap in the Mountain West. Two teams that actually, both up for at-large bids here. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if both of these two teams make the tournament. These are good teams. There's questions on the Wyoming side, though, just because the Cowboys haven't really played a lot of good teams. So that when you look at their record, 16-3, they're 8-0 at home. Like Tony's point, well, who have they really beat? Whenever they've really stepped up in class outside of Utah State, they haven't beaten a top 100 team all season long. And on Colorado State side of things, they're 16-2. They're a big under trender, guys. We're getting the better defense here with the Rams, 6-11 towards the under, also 2-8 under trenders in their last 10 games. So I think it speaks towards the under. And sidewise, I like Colorado State here. Speaking to the UNLV loss last week, and thanks for the plug for the Under the Radar segment there, Joe, on the YouTube channel, Wager Talk YouTube channel, new segment here, guys. UNLV was one of the teams I pointed out, so I wouldn't really harp on Colorado State's loss there by 28 ATS points at home to UNLV, because that UNLV team is underrated, guys. They dealt with a lot of COVID-19 issues, and now they're healthy, so I wouldn't smack them too much. And actually, I think we get a little value here on Colorado State. So give me the Rams, Joe, -1 in the hook here.
All right, back in the Rams, and if there is one person in the world who would take a 62-game streak and shit all over it, it's Adam Trigger. So go ahead, Trig. Tell me, how are you looking at this game, man?
Joe, I'm so annoyed right now with this game, and that shouldn't come as really no surprise to anyone. But listen, I had Wyoming circled here for this game probably about a week ago. And then Colorado goes out, and like Tony said, out of nowhere, loses to UNLV at home. And, like Drew said, I don't put much stock into that loss because Bryce Hamilton it was just on another stratosphere in that game. He basically beat them by himself, hit every shot. I think he scored 45. But The line scares me because Wyoming hasn't lost at home, and I actually thought they would have been a bigger favorite here. So I guess I should see some value in Wyoming, but I think Colorado State's the better team. And so if I'm not getting the spot I want with Wyoming, then I really can't bet the game. And that's really what it comes down to for me. I don't really put a ton of stock into like a streak or something like that or a trend. But I do think Colorado State's going to be very hungry here because that was a very embarrassing result for them a couple days ago against UNLV. And when it comes down to it, I think David Roddy and Colorado State are just better than Wyoming. I don't typically bet against Wyoming in Laramie. They have a big time home court advantage there, and they haven't lost there at home this year. But I'll tell you, just my gut feeling, it's going to keep me off of this game. And I guess if I'm nervous to bet Wyoming, then maybe I should be looking at the other side. I'm not going to bet Colorado State, but I do kind of agree with the other guys here that sort of feels like the right side here. I think Colorado State is just a better team. They come in off the loss, and it was such an embarrassing loss that I feel like they're going to be focused, and I think that negates some of Wyoming. It's really like a home court advantage thing for me because I don't think they're the better team. So yeah, I slight lean to Colorado State, but I really wanted to bet Wyoming here, a few days ago, kind of before what transpired. So I'm out of it, but I can't wait to watch this game because I like both of these teams. Should be a great watch. Slight lean to the Rams.
All right, big battle here tonight, Mountain West there, Wyoming, Colorado State battling. Should be a fun one. And now, of course, with this slate with some interesting games on it, it's time to figure out if maybe there's one on the card here these guys like a little bit more than the others. So, Drew, here on a $9 Monday, best bets, $9 over at WagerTalk.com. Drew, kick us off. Which one of these games do you like a little bit better than the rest?
Joe, give me the Rams, -1.5. That's Colorado State. Wyoming 8-0 at home. Yes, in Laramie, Wyoming, highest elevation, but actually Fort Collins, over 5,000 feet elevation themselves. So I don't think it hurts the Rams too much. We get the better defense here with the Rams. And Wyoming, yes, a good team. Outside shot at making the tournament, but guys, they haven't beaten anybody, so I got to see it first. Give me the Rams, -1.5 on the road, Joe, to likely win outright.
All right, good stuff there. Back in Colorado, which is, I think won both games last year against Wyoming as well. So looking to make it 3 in a row here, Trig. How about you, man? Which one of these games are you leaning towards?
Oh, I'm on Notre Dame +5.5. This I haven't put it up officially yet, but this is going to be a client play, 4% best bet for me. I'm going to add it after the show, and I think 5.5 is pretty attainable, so we'll call it Notre Dame +5.5. Broke this one down already on the show. I guess I'll just add Trevor Keels, questionable for Duke tonight. He may play, but I don't think it matters if he does. And then obviously if he's out, he's been out, I believe, since the 18th of January. So they might be without him. If he does play, I don't think he's going to factor huge. I broke down pretty in detail why I like Notre Dame so much earlier in the show. So yeah, 4% best bet, Notre Dame Fighting Irish +5.5. I think they have a good chance to win.
Get her done. Notre Dame here tonight as a dog at home. And how about you, Tony Mahia? Which way you leaning here tonight in these games?
We're riding the under in San Diego State against New Mexico. And look, because I was struggling earlier in the show to read my notes because I have my contacts in. I don't normally do that. And apparently I'm blind and need bifocals. So I'm trying to read what I wrote. But you guys can do a much better job at that at wt.buzz/TM because my free play is up there. But I basically like the fact that San Diego State is coming off giving up a season high in points and hasn't lost 3 out of 4 since the end of the 18-19 season. And that's a situation that they put themselves in. They came off a lengthy COVID pause and lost 42-37 to Boise State in a game that at the very least looked like a San Diego State game. And then they haven't looked like themselves since. They beat 186-70 against San Jose State on Friday night. The Lobos did. So they're looking for consecutive wins for the first time since before Thanksgiving. And Richard Pitino's trying to run with a team that really has only 2 horses. So it's a spot here where if San Diego State clamps down, they'll look good doing what they normally do on the defensive end, and they need that boost. So it's a team that goes on the road in New Mexico looking to establish a faster pace against a San Diego State team that's going to deny that and is really good, obviously, at home at Viejas Arena. If they win tonight, they'll move to 45-5 there over their last 50 games. So I look for them to establish pace and the under to stay below the posted total.
I don't know how many, how much of your notes you need to read. You basically said San Diego State and under, and I think we all knew where you were going with that. So that's it. San Diego State and the under. It is. Say no more, Tony Mejia. Let's see what our friends from the Gold Sheet have in store tonight. I like it. Eastern Washington, Weber State tonight. They're going to be backing the over in this one. And again, guys, you can always read these write-ups here from our Gold Sheet plays of the day over at Twitter on the Wager Talk Twitter page at Wager Talk. We post these up so you guys can check them out because the write-ups are fantastic. And so is the website, goldsheet.com, guys. They get write-ups on the games, great handicapping tools, a lot of data, useful data. Check it out over at the at goldsheet.com. I'm going to stick with that game because I don't understand why the hell this line is so big. It's 10.5 there as Eastern Washington happens to be just a cash cow on the road this year here, guys. 10-2 against the number on the road this year is Eastern Washington. 5-0 against the number in conference players on the road, going to Weber State, who does not cover at home. 1-6 at home here. So you want to give me 10.5? I'll take the 10.5 here. I don't think they're going to win by margin there at all. So once again, guys, we have best bet recaps here with Drew Martin going to Colorado State, giving the Rams in Wyoming minus the 1.5. Trig says, screw you, Coach K. Give me them Notre Dame Fighting Irish plus the 5.5. We're going to go New Mexico, San Diego State under. Shocker, 138.5 in that one for Tony Mejia. I'm going to take the 10.5 with Eastern Washington against Weber State. And the Gold Sheet likes the over in that matchup there. One of 27 in a row probably for them. 156 is the number on that one. And a quick reminder, it is $9 Monday, guys, which means all three of these gentlemen right now, WagerTalk.com, best bets, $9. You heard Trig talk about a 5% best bet he's got going on there. Tony Mejia locked and loaded. Nobody hotter in college hoops than Drew Martin, guys. So do yourself a favor. Kick the week off on a profitable note by heading over to WagerTalk.com. $9. Go get those best bets, guys, including the 5% best bets. Go over and check them out. WagerTalk.com. On behalf of Drew Martin, Adam Trigger, Tony Mejia, guys, we appreciate you hanging with us. Hit that bell in the upper right-hand corner. Plan to join us again tomorrow for more college basketball hoops talk. We got you covered here. Best of luck with your plays, guys. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.
Lock in all sports, all plays, all 5% best bets from now until Super Bowl 57 on February 12, 2023 from your favorite Wager Talk handicapper for only $1,199 versus a regular price of $1,999 for one total savings of $800. This limited time super discount comes out to less than $100 per month and only $3.28 per day. As an added bonus, your all access starts immediately, so the sooner you buy before Super Bowl 56, the more additional days you will get for free. Just go to WagerTalk.com, choose your favorite handicapper to lock in, and don't forget there is no limit to the amount of handicappers you can redeem our Super Bowl to Super Bowl offer on.